Hey guys, it's Miranda, and today it's happening. I'm doing it. It's only 3 years later, if not more, that I've wanted to start recording myself and doing some form of a YouTube type setup. But I've decided to finally do it. We're going to take the leap, and this will be the channel where we talk about everything while really not talking about anything at all. Over the past couple years, I have went from living off the grid to being a minimalist and living in a camper, back to living in an apartment and being a minimalist, now trying to figure out how to be zero waste, all while being a freelance photographer and all while being a workaholic and just an all over the place kind of person, because that's just how I live my life. So here we are. Truthfully, I don't think I could have started it 3 years ago. Not how I would have wanted to. I think that I've grown a lot as a person, just going through all of the things I went through. I've come out of my shell quite a bit. I've also become a little bit more of an introvert, which kind of probably doesn't make sense, but maybe some of you get it. I mean, I am a very outgoing person. I'm spontaneous. I am an extrovert. With very introverted ways. So I learned how to be alone. And that was the hardest thing, I think, ever. Because as soon as I had moved out on my own, got my very first apartment, and I was going to college, and I was never home because I always had to be doing something. I couldn't be home. So I was either working a lot, or, I was doing something else with friends, or I was just at the gym. Like, I was just never home. And I was always finding something to do, or if I was home, I had the TV going with Big Bang Theory. Got me through a lot. They became my people, basically my roommates, and I put them on. And I mean, they'd just be background noise on my TV. And I'd go do other things in my house, but for some reason I just couldn't, like, in the back of my mind subconsciously, I just couldn't do it without, it was too much to just have the silence. And it was very, very difficult for me. And there's only probably one memory of being in that apartment where I actually sat down and had a very peaceful day. And I was sitting on my bed. I had a brown and red comforter. And I was sitting on the bed, and I had the windows open. It was a nice summer day. I had the wind coming in. It was sunny. I had the golden light. I painted all the walls yellow. I'm a huge fan of warm lighting. So it really had the feel. I had white sheer curtains blowing in the wind. It was very peaceful. I was sitting on my bed working on photos from New York City. I was correcting and editing a photo a friend of mine took on that trip. And I was in Photoshop removing, cars from a street. And that was probably the best day I ever had in that apartment. And I just stayed home. And I think that's when it kind of hit me, like, this is what I like to do. But it scared me to learn that about myself. Like, when you start to learn things about yourself, like, it's exciting and it's like, oh, this is so cool. But at the same time, you're like, I'm not sure I like this. Do I want to know this person? Do I want to like this? Like, it's scary. It's new territory. You're embracing things about yourself that were always there, but you never really noticed. As a single woman going out and, just being vulnerable and venturing off into the world by myself, it was difficult. It presented a lot of challenges, and it was scary. I'm not gonna lie. I was terrified. The first time I actually really took my camper out, I hooked it up, and next thing you know, finished packing up my house, and a few days later I am driving it across 6 or 7 states, down to Tennessee. And next thing, like, by myself, I just took this thing, hooked it up, and drove off into the wild by myself. That movie, Into the Wild, is, oh my gosh, that movie is responsible for a lot of my actions. I tell people all the time that's my favorite movie, but if they watch it with me, they better be ready for me to take off in the next week, because that's like, I'm ready. At the drop of a hat, I watch that and I'm gone. I'm like, we're going. So, yeah, yeah. Gotta watch myself. I can't watch that movie all the time. But, yeah, so basically I packed it up, rolled out of the camper, drove off, and I went, man. And the experiences, the whole trip down to Tennessee was something else. And then getting to Tennessee was an entirely, like, the whole 5 or 6 months I lived there was just, the experience was fantastic. And it was just so good for my soul. And then after that, I got a job down in Texas. I moved down there, and that was an entirely different experience, and I grew even more being there. And then, I met these amazing people. One of the people I met is the one who's been on me and inspiring me to do a YouTube channel. When I was down there, I edited for a guy that had a YouTube channel. That was my job. My job was to be, a lifestyle and portrait photographer on top of editing videos for someone's YouTube. And then, of course, when you're in that environment, you meet people. So I became friends with a YouTuber who's just like, look, you can do it. And for an entire year, I ignored him. I lived in my camper just shy of 2 years. And it was, like I've been saying, like, it was such an amazing experience. And I would totally continue with that. However, I need the space. I'm at a point in my life where I just need the space for an actual studio to do my photography work. I'm at that point now in my career where that I can't not have that anymore. Where before it was fine. Like I was making it work. I did a lot of on-site shooting and just kind of like running around doing whatever, wherever. I made it work. Now I need the space, and I also think that with that new studio space is probably why this is able to happen, because now I actually have the means to do it. I have the lighting, I have the room. I can do this, and I'm not hitting 20 things. Like, I actually have to get up and walk to my kitchen. I can't wake up in the morning and roll out of bed and just, grab breakfast and take 2 steps and then, be at my closet, changing and, brushing my teeth right there in the sink. Like, it's all pretty much like the length of this couch is the runway that I had from my bed to my bathroom. Like, yeah. It's crazy. So this place, it's tiny, and I'll get to it later where I walk you around and show you what's going on. But it's huge in my mind. It's massive. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Which you're probably gonna watch it and be like, oh, it's such a tiny space, itty bitty living space, itty bitty. But yeah, to me it's massive. But yeah, so like I said, I'm just seasons have changed over the last 3 years. I've been through a lot of them. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. As far as the turnover of seasons in my life, I go through a lot of changes. I am a person, I get bored. I'm the person that gets bored, and I change things. When I get bored, things change, and I think that keeps me growing, and that's how I was able to get to where I am now. Hopefully that's what pushes me to where I want to be, and then even beyond that, to a place that I haven't even thought of being yet. And because that would just be so cool. But I feel like there are things in store for my life that are greater than I could even imagine. Just like the season I'm going into, I know kind of what to expect, but I think the reality of what it is going to be is so much more than I could ever really fathom. And so that's why doing this now and being like, all right, we're gonna do videos and we're gonna talk about things, and I'm gonna show you what was too hard for me to show you before, which was really just me being myself. And this is really continuing on that journey of self-discovery and becoming, who I am. I want to share those moments with people. I have, the trip to Florida that I took with my mom to go see my uncle, two of my favorite people in the same area. We were all together hanging out. I mean, that was just so cool for me. And I'm ready to just do this and run with it, and it's going to be fantastic. And I hope you enjoy, looking at these things, laughing at my, experience and my journey of self-discovery. Something good will come out of being locked down, and I will get this done, and it'll be fantastic. Let's do it.